You know, it's been a minute since I made a video of any kind, and this is the first time I've really decided to make a video where I want to teach people something that actually could be a tangible benefit to them. So this is something new for me, and I'm going to try my best to not screw it up, all right? Also, while I'm here, if you're someone who knows me, and chances are you definitely are, you might be asking the question, why am I covering my face like I am? The easy answer is I don't want to shave. And I don't think anyone in my command is going to be weirded out if I make a video on my off time and I have a Grizzly Adams beard under here. But also, I don't want to chance it. So congratulations. You get to be spared from my face. I get to be spared from looking at it and editing. Everybody wins, except really you guys, because I still have to rant at you. I'm sorry, but you're probably into that. I'd also like to point out, I got notes, but we're going to try and improv this bitch as much as we can. Now, this is all because some of the people who follow me from my unit and that I know in real life got curious, but I want to talk about this thing right here, but not necessarily just the bag itself. I want to talk about this. So this is the FILBE, or Family of Individual Load-Bearing Equipment main pack, and this is the Alice frame. I can't remember what Alice stands for right now. I'll have it at the bottom of the screen. Something I've seen people talk about a lot with this particular backpack is that it's not fun to have. It kind of sucks. And the people who talk about that, I feel like don't really try to modify things, mostly because it's issued gear and they don't really have the wiggle room to do such a thing, which is fair. You don't want some idiot E2 or E3 screwing up their pack and then it breaks in the middle of a hike and then you gotta deal with the fallout of that. It's not fun, it's not recommended, no one wants to deal with Private Schmuckatelli screwing shit over for everybody, but still, there is something to be said about how nice this pack actually is in comparison to its predecessor. Let's get the biggest thing out of the way. The Alice line of load-bearing equipment is still really good, even if it is a bit dated. The Alice line of equipment has been around since the end of the Vietnam War and went as far into at least the early stages of Afghanistan and Iraq. Most likely. It was still there, even though it was technically phased out by 2002 with this line of equipment. But you know what? Alice is still completely serviceable. If you were to use that for any kind of field use, you're not exactly behind the curve and it's going to serve you well. However, there's one thing about the Alice pack that most people agree isn't the greatest thing in the world. And this really just comes down to preference because we like having the ability to just do stuff. But there is the fact that, and now for all the screeching, it's not as modular. The great thing about the FILBE system, whether it's this, the 3-day assault bag, or whatever, is that it's got all this MOLLE along the side, and you can't really see it because I put a bunch of sustainment pouches along here, but you can do whatever you want with this, and it's awesome. Let's say you're just like me and you want to have one pouch for extra ammo, for snacks, for batteries, for whatever. Then you can modify that as you see fit. One thing that's really fun is if you take one of these pouches and then you keep it off to the side, then you automatically have a hydration pouch, which you should absolutely do. Remember, you are 70% water. Make sure you act like it. And so this bag gives you a lot of options to do whatever the hell you want with it, and I appreciate that. I think most people actually appreciate the bag itself. It's just that the frame that it comes with is not the best. Now, I want to make it clear right now, this frame also is not the best thing money could buy. Alice frames are fairly easy to get a hold of, they're affordable, they're durable, or at least more durable than the plastic frame of the original FILBE system. They're easy to install, and also if you go to certain websites, they actually have a bundle program kind of thing. So if you buy the frame, you can automatically get the shoulder straps and the kidney pads with it, which is insanely helpful. The biggest problem is that the frame itself is not the best thing on the market. And I don't say that to denigrate it. It is a perfect stopgap measure for right now if you need a pack right now. Most people, like my boy Matt over at Nylon Theory, will suggest something like the Malice frame, which is the exact same thing, except instead of having rivets in here, it's all welded. But if you need to save money for some reason, this is not a bad option. And personally, my own opinion on this, as someone who is not an infantryman, has never deployed, is a complete pogue, whatever, I have not been there and done that. I would say, if you're going to buy one of these, you might as well just shell out a little bit extra money and replace the frame while you're at it. Even better if you could find just the bag like this and then you could buy the frame and put it on later, because that's what I did. I bought the bag for probably like 30 or 40 bucks. The frame and straps are maybe about 60 or 70. Zip ties are like $5 a pack, so you're basically spending nothing. It's something like a 50% discount once you assemble it yourself. All this, so that way, if for some reason you're a crazy person and you want to hike in some kind of serious cold climate, this is not going to snap on you, because that has happened to people. I don't want this to sound like I'm just saying you should do this if you're in the military. That's something that you need to take up with your platoon leaders, your platoon commanders, your command in general, and ask them what is the policy and what is the SOP on using your own gear that you supply yourself. Some places are cool about it, most aren't. Your mileage may vary. But if you have a command that's gracious enough to allow you to use your own stuff and treat you like a big kid, this is something I would absolutely do if I had the chance. But this doesn't necessarily have to be just for military members. Maybe you're a serious backpacker or hiker. Maybe you just want to have a good bag to take camping with you. Maybe you're a prepper like me and you feel very vindicated about like the last 5 or 6 years roughly, and you actually want to take more steps in making sure that you're prepared for whatever scenario, basically. This is a good option for just about any occasion or application you can think of. Now, I think I've talked enough with you having to look at this side of me. Why don't I go ahead, take it inside so you could see up close how we put this thing together. Too heavy, too light, too wrong and too right, too black and too white. Dun-dun-dun-dun. Cumbersome. Okay, so the first thing we want to do when we're putting this on is we want to get our kidney pads on first. Now, I say this because this is going to be a lot more difficult if you have it on the pack. Trust me, just do it this way. You're going to want this thing facing upside down like this, and you're going to see these two grommet things that also align with these two little grommets right here. So you're going to slip that in on one side, slip it in on the other, kind of get it over a little bit more, and then they're kind of floating just like right there. And then you're going to take this strap right here that's going to secure it in place. You're going to go in on this side, if I can actually get my hands to cooperate. Apologies, everybody. You're dealing with a spastic right now. Then come in on this side right here. Do the best you can to get the slack out, but there's still going to be a little bit, so don't worry about that too hard. But then you're going to put it through this farther side along this side of the buckle. And then you're just going to pull, again, getting all the slack out as much as possible. Push it through the other loop there, sorry. And then just kind of tighten her a little bit. There's still going to be a little bit of play, but don't worry about that too hard. It won't hurt you. And then you're just going to clip this over like so. And then try and center it a little bit. But that's how it's going to look. And then just, I mean, not that I'm the strongest person or anything in the world, but I am not able to move this. That is about as secure as it's going to get. So let's just showcase how to put the frame onto the rest of the pack proper. Okay, so now that we have our kidney pads on the rest of the frame, we're going to put this thing on. But before I do that, I want to point out something. So if you see these guys right here, don't worry about those. That is just where you clip in the strap and then you wrap it around your frame, obviously. And then this reaches around the front to where you actually clasp in your isomat. If you don't have it, it's no big deal. It doesn't do anything for structural integrity. It doesn't do anything for tying down your frame proper. It is just there for an isomat. And if you have an isomat and you can't secure it, well, you're shit out of luck. But that's not really what most people are going to use this for on the civilian side anyway. So don't worry about that too hard. So the first thing we want to do is we just want to slip this right here into this sleeve like so. Very simple, very to the point, no big deal. Any of us can figure it out. Gonna just get that a bit more in frame though. And then what I will do next is we're gonna come in on this side, go through this way. Oop, don't want it to be too off center. Go this way, and then feed it back this way. Then do the exact same thing on this side. Then you can tighten it up once you get them both secure as best you can. Obviously, it's going to be a little wonked out at first, but that's not a huge deal, and you can adjust it as you go. Let's do that. I'll just pull this out so I can get a little bit more torque down on it. That's a little better. One of the things that I would definitely say is going to be a must if you're taking this out for a lot of hikes and you want to have maximum comfortability is you're going to want to find some kind of foam to put along this so it doesn't hurt your spine, or up top here so that way it's not digging into your neck and it's just absolutely pissing you off. It wasn't as bad for me this last hike I did it, but that's because I think I packed the pack a lot better. But it's still something to keep in mind, especially if you go heavier. So just take that for what it is. Now, our next bit is going to be these little guys right here. And for these, we're going to use just a couple zip ties. These are going to come up a couple times throughout this. If that leaves you feeling a little bit freaked out or it seems kind of hinky, trust me, it'll work. Duct tape and zip ties probably keep this country together more so than we like to think about, so it's going to be fine in your backpack too. So what we'll do here is once we loop this through, we're going to take each end, put it along this underside of the frame, pull it, then line it up nice and even, and then we're going to go ahead and just cinch that son of a bitch down. No huge deal right there. Obviously, you're going to want to get rid of this tail, and you want to get that down as close as you can, so that way, if for some reason you're someone who's just completely swole and you have more muscles than freaking anything, this isn't going to dig into your body anywhere and be annoying. Now we'll do this on the other side, very easy. Look at me go. Another thing you might consider when doing this is making sure that you keep checking on these to see how they look. I don't know how these will handle pressure after how many hikes I'm going to take them on, but I'll still check these periodically just to make sure they look okay or they're not going to break or whatever. Now, I'm going to bring you guys back here towards the kidney pads again because I got something I want to show you in that area. Okay, so from this side, all we're going to do is we're just going to zip tie these through this loop right here. Do not put anything through this loop. This is where your shoulder strap is going to go on the end, so just leave that alone. Don't even think about it until that point. Good. And while I'm doing this, I want to thank the other channels that put out the same information, and maybe they just didn't quite have the production value they needed, because one guy I was watching to make sure I had the kidney strap thing right was a video from probably about 15 years ago. And its age showed like it's all compressed and looking terrible, but at the time it was probably really good. Then there was one guy who I'm assuming is a much more active duty Marine than I am, who showed off how he did this. Come back here. And that video is still up. I'll probably link both of them below just in case you need extra instruction besides what I got, or if you just want to go support them a little bit. And clip it. Come on. There we go. But I just want to give those guys props too, because they seem chill. I don't think you guys need to see the other side, so I'm just going to do that real fast. Okay, so now that we have that piece secured right there, the next step, and effectively the final step, is putting on our shoulder straps. Now, make sure I got the right side, left hand. Yep. So all we're going to do is going to put this, we're going to loop this, loop the loop right through here. And then once we've done that, we're going to feed the top end of this strap through it. Now, the hole is kind of tight, so just keep on shoving until it goes in. Dirty bastards. Then, make sure it's not hung up on anything. Get her nice and tight, and there you go. And now I'll adjust the camera so you guys can see what I'm doing up top. Okay, so now that we have our straps tied off, the last step is to get it done on the first side. So all you gotta do is you're gonna peel this back, and you'll see this little slat here that you're gonna go ahead and feed, make sure it's straightened out. You're gonna feed it under like this, and then bring it around. Then you're gonna come in the bottom of this little buckle right here, put her right back through the top. Good there. Now we'll do the other side. And it's okay if it's like that because, you know, whatever. Of all things that are going to pinch against your neck, this little fold right here is not going to be the thing that really drives you insane. It's going to be this metal bar that annoys the absolute piss out of you. But that's okay. If you're watching this, you're probably a Marine, so you're tough and used to things being terrible. So, put it in right there. I got the right spot? Yes, I do. Put that through. Come on, hands, steady for me a little bit. Put this through. Wow, this is really being a pain in the ass. And get that through. Give it a little tug right there, make sure it's good. And now that your straps are in place, go ahead and give yourself a pat on the back for putting something together by yourself and having a good time doing it. And yeah, we'll just take it outside now for final thoughts and review. And that's pretty much it. It's not a whole lot of effort. It's not a whole lot of pain in the ass. It's a fairly simple thing to do. And it doesn't cost a whole lot of money, which for some people is a huge thing. I know it is for me. That's why I'm making this. Genuinely, I would say that total time invested in this is probably about 10 or 15 minutes. Total money invested, however, is probably, like I think I said before, 60 for the frame and straps in a bundle, 30 for the bag, maybe $5 for zip ties. So you're looking at approximately a 50% discount, depending on where you're buying this particular bag from. I've seen these go from as low as $120 to close to $200. And I don't know why. I assume it has to do with surplus grade and how it is in condition, but what do I know? I'm a little retarded. If you want to really save money and have some fun, you could get one of these things, but in like older camo patterns. So say like your, well, it's not an older camo pattern. I don't want to date myself too hard, but Air Force ABUs and Army UCP bags are fairly cheap compared to everything else, probably because they're in colors that nobody wants to touch with a 10-foot pole, but they're still a perfectly serviceable bag. It just happens to look like someone puked in your eyes when you look at it. And also, while we're doing this, I want to showcase something I thought was funny when I was goofing off with it initially after I had put this thing on. So, this is my plate carrier. Don't ask why I have this. I said before, prepper, and also, I mean, I'm a Marine. I'd like to have some stuff at home just in case, right? But something I thought was interesting when I was doing this is that once you actually get the straps where you need to, in total weight, I'd probably say I'm wearing about 50 pounds of stuff right now. I haven't hiked with this. I don't know that I would want to, but it's not that noticeable of bulk when you actually do wear it with a plate carrier. I'm not infantry, I'm not anything like that, so I don't know if you would wear a plate carrier with your main pack if you're like, you know, hiking across wherever the hell in God's no man's land. But it's still worth noting that it's not that bad and it's actually kind of comfortable. I don't really feel the frame on my back right now because there's like a level 4 ceramic plate cushioning it. But maybe I'll ask some infantry guys what they know and if that's even a viable thing. Because this feels like it's kind of stupid, but maybe there's a place for it. You know, sometimes when I'm thinking about stuff, I kind of want to sit there and just wonder, and I want to ask God if there's a reason he gave me this kind of autism as opposed to train autism. I don't know if it's a good thing or not at this point, but I'm stuck with it, so. I'm just popping in here in the middle of editing because I realized I forgot to mention something. So, like I said, the frame is fine for now. It's a stopgap measure. That's okay. The straps are okay. The kidney pad leaves a bit to be desired. I'm going to replace that. However, I would like to point out that one of these straps, when I am hiking, it likes to come undone. And it's not a big deal, just tighten it back down again, but that might just happen with surplus Alice straps. I don't know, but your mileage may vary. Just something I want to toss out there. But that is how to put an Alice frame on a main pack. If you're one of my buddies watching this and you found this helpful, please tell me how. If you need some improvement, let me know down below as well. For everybody else that stumbles by, hope I gave you some kind of entertainment, and thanks for watching.